Ever notice how we all have those little quirks? The things that make us us?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, a lot of it, maybe even those bedrock beliefs we carry, sometimes they come straight from the generations before us. It's kind of like an inheritance you can't see.
It really is like a blueprint, passed down from those who raised us. Their experiences, their values, all shaping those crucial early years. Powerful stuff.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going deep with these personal reflections, raised by the 20s, dispatches from the command center.
Intriguing title.
Right. It's all about a childhood spent in Ashley County, Arkansas, really centered around this one person, the author's grandmother, Thelma Elizabeth Irene Wallace Pennington.
Ashley County, early 1900s. That paints a very specific picture.
Totally. And the author talks about their grandmother's kitchen table as this, well, command center. It's where everything happened. And when you think about it, these grandparents, born in the 1910s, they grew up during the Great Depression, came of age right when sawmills and paper mills were booming in Crosset.
Talk about formative experiences. A whole generation shaped by those times. The Depression alone, think about it. Scarcity, hard work. Those become more than just concepts. They become woven into your being.
Exactly. And that's what's so cool about these reflections. Even if you didn't grow up in Ashley County, you can probably relate. We've all known folks, maybe grandparents, maybe older neighbors who just had that something, that echo of a generation that went through so much.
A shared history even. A collective memory that resonates across generations.
Okay, so picture this command center, this kitchen table. The author gives us the layout. Papa always sat facing south, overlooking the pasture and garden. The author sat opposite, facing north.
Huh. Like a mirror image. Interesting.
Right. And then grandmother Thelma, she held court on the west side, always looking east. Why that arrangement? I don't know, but you gotta wonder.
Symbolism? Maybe.
Hmm.
Papa connected to the land, the source of life. The author facing the other way, perhaps the future. And the grandmother facing east, the sunrise, new beginnings.
Whoa, that's deep. And this kitchen, it wasn't just about meals, it was everything. Breakfast, sure, but also instructions, news, just figuring out life. All happened around that table.
The heart of the home, the kitchen, often is. But here it's like even more so. The hub. Practical knowledge, family dynamics, all those little rituals that bind people together.
And the author gives these amazing glimpses of the grandparents in their 70s and 80s. Papa with his white hair and those big Smith overalls. Can't you just see him dealing with his arthritis, but still, a presence?
Those details, they tell a story. The overalls, a life of practicality, hard work, the arthritis, the wear and tear of time.
And Mama, keeping that kitchen running like clockwork, maybe rolling her eyes at Papa now and then, but with love.
They had this resilience, like they'd seen it all, which they kind of had. The flood of 27, WWII, rationing, who knows how many harsh winters. More than events, those were realities that shaped them, forged their perspective. You don't go through something like the Depression and come out unchanged.
And the author describes themselves as the runner, the chore boy. Produce from the garden, a tool from the shed, a memory from the past. Whatever was needed, they were the ones sent to fetch it.
Interesting. Almost like a bridge between the generations. The grandparents relying on them, passing down skills, stories, a sense of responsibility.
Totally. You can't help but think, what did the author learn from that? Being that runner, that connection to their grandparents' world.
Exactly. And there's this powerful image, the chore of gathering wood for the stove. It's described as not just for heat, but for life, like essential, basic survival, something we maybe take for granted now.
Makes you think, right? That connection to the land, to the necessities, it's a whole different way of being.
Resourcefulness, right? A level of self-sufficiency we don't see as much anymore. What have we lost maybe in our modern world?
Okay, now let's zoom in on grandmother Thelma's spot at the table. Always the west side, facing east. And from there, she could see it all. The screen door, the sounds outside, the trash can, the fridge, even the coat rack.
Wow, like a whole life contained in that one corner.
Right. What did she observe day in and day out? Just makes you think. And breakfast with her, it wasn't just a meal, it was a production. That hot cast iron skillet, biscuits lined up like soldiers.
More than food, it's tradition, care, love, made real, tangible. The ritual of it all. Every family has those, right?
And the food, of course, there were staples. Biscuits, pork, brown gravy, that passed down through blood and memory stuff.
Love that phrase.
Me too. But then you get the specifics. Government cheese. And the jellies. Purple hull pea, strawberry fig with jello, pear, fig.
Wow, those aren't just flavors, they're time capsules. You say government cheese and boom, a whole era comes alive. And the homemade jellies, that's resourcefulness. preserving the bounty, sharing it. Each one probably had a story.
And then there's this little detail. The author sneaking spoonfuls of jelly like stolen treasure. You can't help but smile.
Universal, right? That childhood mischief makes those memories human.
And the author sums up Thelma perfectly. Genius, wizard, provider, someone who made life feel whole, steady, and real. Powerful stuff.
It is. That's the impact a steady, loving presence can have. That sense of security, shaping a whole worldview. What was it about Thelma, do you think, that created that feeling?
Hard to say, but I think it was that combination of practical skills always being there and maybe that sense of having lived through so much yet creating this stability. And then the author brings it back to this idea of being dispatched, sent out from the house with chores, yes, but also with a full belly and this deep sense of place.
More than just sustenance. Equipped for life. That sense of belonging, responsibility, nourishment on multiple levels, really.
And the author makes this point. These reflections, they aren't just about dusty family stories. They're about remembering those details. Big Smith overalls, the creak of a screen door, sunlight on dust motes while Grandma stirs the gravy. Those sensory things, they connect us to the past.
It's true. Those details ground us, make it real, more than just facts on a page. You can almost feel it, smell it, taste it.
And then the author turns it to us, the listeners. If you grew up in that area, you probably have your own version of this. Those people, that era, they probably shaped you too. It brings it all home.
A shared heritage. It makes you think about the impact one generation can have, the ripple effect.
So this deep dive, this look at growing up in Ashley County, Arkansas, it's really about the legacy of that generation, the one that came of age in the 20s and 30s, all seen through this everyday lens, a kitchen table, the bonds of family.
Exactly. It shows how those seemingly little things, the routines, the unspoken lessons, even the details of a meal, they all carry meaning. They shape us within a specific time and place. The power of the everyday.
So now I got to ask you, think about those command centers in your own life. Maybe your upbringing, maybe someone you know. What were those routines, those lessons, those values that got passed down, maybe without anyone even saying a word?
Right. Those are the threads that connect us. Understanding those connections, well, it gives us perspective, not just on our own stories, but on how we got here. What were the homemade jellies in your life? Those small but significant things that colored your world.
Great question. I think we all have them. And maybe taking a minute to think about those things, well, that's how we keep those legacies alive.
Absolutely. By remembering, by sharing, by recognizing the echoes of the past in our present. That's how we honor those who came before us and maybe understand ourselves a little better along the way.
Beautifully put. Until next time, keep those deep dives going, folks. Explore those memories, those connections, and see where they lead you.
And don't forget those homemade jellies. Every jar has a story.